Alright YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So for anybody who does watch this channel on a regular basis, most of you guys will know that two of my most expensive hobbies are watch collecting and firearms. And the thing about both of these hobbies is that they naturally cost a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to buy a luxury watch, and it costs a lot of money to go to the range frequently. So the question has been asked to me in the past on occasion, how do you actually afford all of this stuff? And I would say that the answer is a little bit complicated, and it's more than I can explain in this video. But if I were to simplify it down, I would say that I save money where I can, and I avoid wasting money on things that are simply not worth it. So this video's subject is primarily going to be about the latter, and talking about things that I just simply don't waste my money on. Because if I was into these things, then there would be no way that I could afford either watches or shooting. So without further ado, let's talk about the very first thing which I don't waste money on, and that is going to be gambling. Whether it's, lottery tickets or casinos like slot machines, poker, blackjack, whatever, roulette, there is always a higher risk of you losing your money than a chance of you winning anything major. You'd be more likely to die in a plane crash or die in a car crash than you would be to win the lottery. And when it comes to casinos and gambling, the house always has the advantage, and you're more likely to walk away with less money than you walked in with. So I avoid gambling and the lottery like the plague. I don't feel like those are prudent things to put your money towards at all. And frankly, in my opinion, I've had more success with investing my money into index funds in the stock market. And, this isn't financial advice necessarily, but you guys would probably feel that your money is better spent if you invested it in the stock market as well. The next thing that I simply do not waste money on is a get-rich-quick course. You guys have seen ads for these a lot, like these social media influencer gurus who are financially independent at whatever age, and they're selling you a $300 or $1,000 course on how to start your own business and be an entrepreneur and get rich quick and all this stuff. The old adage of, if it sounds too good to be true, it is, applies here. Look, there is very little value that you can gain from these courses, and ultimately what ends up happening when you pay for one of these online courses is that you're just making the person who sold you these courses richer, thus perpetuating the illusion that they actually have something of value to teach you. Stuff like starting your own business and being an online entrepreneur and like paying $1,000 for that course, and like watch investing courses, for those of you who are into watches, stuff like that, in my opinion, is just completely useless. There is no intellectual value to be gained from it, and it would be much more prudent to save your money and go out and actually network with high-income individuals who are either business owners, entrepreneurs, or savvy investors, and take from their experiences, learn what they do, learn how they made their fortunes and how they became successful, and then see if you can apply those lessons into your own life. Having a mentor and being able to be coached by somebody will always serve you better than paying $1,000 for some online course from someone who you don't know and whose credentials you have never verified. The next thing that I don't spend money on that's much simpler is overpriced coffee.
Take your order.
Can I get a tall chai?
A large black coffee.
A what?
Large black coffee.
Do you mean a venti?
No, I mean a large.
He means a venti. Yeah, the biggest one you got.
A venti is large.
No, venti is 20.
Danny.
Yeah. Large is large. In fact, tall is large, and grande is Spanish for large. Venti's the only one that doesn't mean large. It's also the only one that's Italian. Congratulations, you're stupid in 3 languages.
The only time that you will ever see me walk into a Starbucks and get a double shot venti vanilla latte is if I did not have time to make my own coffee in the morning. And that rarely occurs. I always have coffee in the morning ready to go, because, like other caffeine addicts out there, I can't really function without it. But that is not an excuse to waste money at Starbucks every morning, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And to that example, if you were to get a venti latte, a venti latte, depending on where you are, on average costs around $4, give or take a few. But $4 invested over 365 days, assuming a 7% annual return, could net you $1,562.20 at the end of 1 year. That is a lot of money saved, and that is one example of why I don't believe that there is any barrier or excuse to not start investing in your own future. If you just cut out something simple like coffee every day and invested that money instead, you would find that you actually have a lot of money at the end of the year when your statements roll around. Okay, the next thing that I simply do not waste money on is new cars. For one thing, I'm not a car guy. I've never really been into cars. They're just not my thing. I want something that gets me from point A to B. But in terms of statistics, NerdWallet states that the average monthly car payment for a new car is $735 a month. The average monthly payment for a used car is $523 a month. That is a huge, huge expense, and it is a massive barrier to being able to invest your money or simply save it. I recently paid off my vehicle, and I intend to drive that thing for as long as possible. When I was working on paying it off, I was paying about $309 a month on the loan itself, not counting insurance and not counting gas and maintenance costs and everything else. And that alone, the payments on the loan itself, were big enough for me to prevent me from investing as much money as I would have liked into my stock portfolios and my savings accounts. And it definitely got in the way of me being able to save further. So when I finally paid that car off, it was very advantageous for me to do so, because that freed up an extra $300-ish a month to then put towards other goals like saving for my own future and saving for things like, watches and guns that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So if we look at these numbers, $735 a month for a new car that depreciates by up to 50%, if not more, as soon as you drive it off the lot, is an absolutely horrible decision to make financially. I understand that people need to get around, and as I've said in previous videos, it's essential to have a means of transportation that you can instantly rely on, but paying $735 a month on average for a car payment alone, not counting insurance, not counting gas and maintenance costs and everything else, is just absolutely insane. I don't know what other word to use beyond that, because it's just so expensive to get that and have that be in the way of you actually saving your money towards your own future, because that car is not going to be around forever. You will still need that money in the future for when you either retire or you possibly need to move jobs or move places. But I'm going off on a tangent here, so I'm going to move on. The last thing that I do not spend money on, or that I don't waste money on, is yearly smartphone upgrades. So I have never understood why people upgrade their smartphone every single year. Unless you are like a tech content creator like MKBHD or Mr. Who's the Boss, and you have a job that is related to reviewing technology and reviewing smartphones and stuff like that. Like, for those guys it makes sense, but for the rest of us, like me, who doesn't really do that, right? For the rest of us, there's not really any logical reason to upgrade your smartphone every year when the one that you currently own is up and working and in operational condition. I'm currently filming this video, and I film all of my videos on my personal iPhone 14 Pro, which I have had since about December of 2022. And the iPhone 16 is going to be releasing sometime later this year. And honestly, I don't feel like I will be getting it, because at the current time, this phone works just fine, and I also pay $10 a month for AppleCare in case this phone ever does break. So I feel like that is a much better investment of my time and money than trying to get a new phone and then either make payments on that or pay that off in full. For example, a black iPhone 15 Pro with 512 gigabytes of storage, MSRP is for $13.99 a month. If you just skipped buying that phone and you invested that money into some sort of index fund and waited 2 years, assuming a 7% annual return, you would end up with $1,601.72 on top of your money if you just didn't invest anything else after that. That is a lot of money that you could save by just not upgrading your phone when you don't need to. Now, obviously, if you don't have Apple Care like me, and you walk around without a case on your phone, and then you drop your phone onto concrete or down into a sewer, obviously you're going to need to replace your phone, but that's not exactly what I'm talking about here. I'm simply talking about people that have perfectly good functional smartphones and then go to either the Apple store or a Samsung store and just buy a new one straight off the bat for no reason other than it's the new thing, it's the new gadget out there, and they want something that makes them feel good. The thing that would really make you feel good is if you understood what your hobbies are and what makes you happy, and then you cut out unnecessary expenses in order to be able to, one, afford those hobbies without putting yourself into financial or dire financial straits, and two, saving your money so that you can actually invest towards your financial future. Because the likelihood and the probability of us living for a very long time has never been higher. The thing is, you're probably not going to die tomorrow. You're probably going to wake up tomorrow and still face the same financial difficulties that you face today. And you have to be able to plan for that for tomorrow, for next week, and 10 years down the road, and 20 years down the road. So make sure that if you're just saving because you have hobbies that you want to be able to afford like me, or if you're trying to save for your financial future, make sure that you are finding ways to cut out unnecessary expenses like these. That way you can enjoy your life a little bit more. With that being said, I'm going to end the video right here. I want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. If there are any unnecessary expenses that you have cut out from your life, let me know what you did and how it's affected you, because I'd certainly love to hear from you guys. And I'd certainly love your take. I'm sure that there are things that I'm still spending money on that are a total waste, and I want to hear from you guys what you might think that is. So thank you guys for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.